Good morning, friends. Welcome. If this is your first time visiting, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. This morning, we are doing the honeycomb beehive tumbler. This is my version. I know there's lots of people that make such beautiful beehive tumblers, and there's lots of different ways of doing it. I think seeing, different people doing it kind of gives you an idea for how you'd like to do it. So I started out with a flat paint on here. It's just a light beige, and I am going through and putting on some Mod Podge. Now, the Mod Podge is going to be very, very thin. So as you can see, what I initially put on the tumbler, I'm taking my brush and bringing it around to cover everything with that same little bit. And then I'm just going to move over some freezer paper. And this is my gold glitter that I showed you in the bag. This came from Michael's on sale. Very inexpensive, but it is a pretty gold. I like it because it's like a deep gold instead of more of a yellow gold. So I'm just going to go through and cover my entire tumbler. I like the freezer paper because I can just fold it up and stick it back in my little cup, although I always somehow manage to dump some out of the side. So I'm just going to keep going until I cover my entire tumbler. On this one, I'm not going to do the butt of the tumbler. I'm just going to paint it on the bottom. That's it. So I just want to make sure everything is covered. When I have those big bags of glitter like that, I just, pouring them into something small to put it on my tumbler works better for me. So I'm just using a little plastic cup. All right, so I have gone through and I put one light coat of epoxy to seal my glitter down, and then I did take a 1200 grit sandpaper and just make sure everything was nice and smooth. Now I used my Cricut to cut out my honeycomb decals, and now this decal that I'm using, I actually love this certain paper. It's so nice. I get it from the Dollar Tree. It's the Magic Cover book cover, and it looks really good. So I did go through and spray paint over my entire cup. Somehow I missed it in filming. However, I will be using the same color and going over it one more time, so you'll see that here in a minute. Now, after I do the first coat of spray paint, and on that I make sure everything is covered really, really well. And then I'm going to take this alcohol ink. So this is the color is terracotta, and it is the Ranger brand by Tim Holtz. I did my bottom. Now I'm just going to put it on my little holder here and do the sides. So I'm putting it on pretty heavy. I'm putting alcohol then on my brush and going through and just blending it really well. Now this holder that I have is just a pull noodle that I cut 2 pieces off of and then tape them together. So I want to go through and make sure that everything's covered. I want it to be nice and even. Again, I'm just putting on my alcohol ink, putting some alcohol on my brush to blend it, and covering the entire piece with alcohol ink. And just going to finish that up. Now you can see I grabbed a solo cup and put over there because I will put my cup on top of it. I like to use the solo cups. It gives me something to hold on to when I'm doing an entire tumbler covered. So now I'm going to use a coffee filter. The reason I like coffee filters is because they do a good job and they don't leave behind any sort of little fibers. So I just sprayed it down with some alcohol, and I'm going to go in now and kind of burnish off some of the alcohol ink to give it like a distressed look. The goal is to have a very dimensional looking kind of honeybee tumbler. So I'm just going to go in, wipe some of that off, and then afterwards I'm going to go in and spray paint it again. So this is the paint. It's the Krylon Yellow Shimmer paint. And now I'm just going to go in, and I'm not covering the whole thing. I'm just kind of going in and going over it while still leaving a little bit of that brown peeking through. So now my tumbler has dried. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to pull off those stencils that I put on before, those little honeycomb stencils. I'm just going to go in and pull them all off. Now with the spray paint and the alcohol ink, you can see the stencil underneath really well to be able to pull it off. It's not a problem. But if you're doing something thick, sometimes I'll have to take a little bit of hot glue and put a spot on my pieces that need to be pulled up so that I can find them. So just know what kind of material you're going with, and if you're going to be able to find it afterwards when you're doing the peekaboos. So this takes a little bit of time, and you don't have to worry about the glitter, poking, but the paint, definitely you do have to be careful because you don't want to, rip off your paint. So where you see me like rubbing down, those are some of my edges that, needed a little bit of smoothing after. All right, so now I am going to put on my decals. Now, I'm putting my decals on after my paint is dry, and when you're doing this, you do kind of take a risk of pulling up some paint. So if you're not comfortable with that, put another light layer of epoxy on and then your decals. So on this decal, I probably should have cut my bee away from my bee kind. It would have made it much easier for me. And honestly, the bee kind pieces are not necessarily as straight as I would like them to be. And because I didn't do epoxy first, I couldn't pull it back up. All right, so here is this tumbler completed. It, has a lot to it, a lot going on, but I really love it. I love these beehive tumblers. And I just think that they are so much fun. And of course, our vinyl decal with Cricut, and then we did some print and cut flowers. I also did some sunflower decals that I had bought. Those came from Hobby Lobby. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm happy with how it came out. I hope that she loves it. And I really like how the color ended up. It's just really nice. So, yeah. All right, so on this one, I didn't show you, like, after when I put the last layer of epoxy on it, I did sprinkle in over top some of this. It's glitter chip. It's called Champagne Wishes, and it's just a chunky, like, gold mixture with, you know, little black, little gold. And I just thought that would look really pretty. I just held it up really high above it and just a couple little taps, and that was it. And then this is the glitter that I used. It's some glitter that I had gotten on sale at Michael's. And this was the glitter that was on first that made the little honeybee combs there. So, yeah. Well, listen, I hope you like it. I hope that, you know, maybe it gave you a little inspiration and something that you're looking to do. I know that a lot of people do these type of tumblers, and you know, everybody just has a little something different they do. I really like that particular yellow on these. It is, and then when you put the alcohol ink over it, I mean, this color that it gives, it's not really a, you know, fluorescent yellow. It's that like sparkly yellow, but it just gives this really, really cool color with the terracotta brown alcohol ink over it. So I think it's really cool. All right, well, listen, I hope that you enjoy it, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already done so, hit subscribe. I hope you have a blessed and beautiful rest of the day, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye.